So we back again. All right. We're gonna try to breeze through this video, do some updates on some cryptos that we've been talking about on this channel. Currently, let's look at the market. Currently, the market is at 1.6 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is at 48.8%, and ETH is at 18.6. Price action on Bitcoin 26.5 right now. A lot of stuff going on in crypto. Personally, I'm looking for some more dump, maybe to 20,000 if we're lucky to even go that far. But if we get through September and we don't have any problems as far as major collapses or anything like that, I think we'll be starting to turn it around October, November, December, you know, and then maybe a small dump slightly towards the halving. And then after that, it's just bull run ready. So let's take a look at some of these cryptos. I was looking at Dent and I thought I seen some updates on a page. Currently, Dent is sitting at 0.00063. The volume, 24-hour volume is 1.9. That's really good. And it is probably consistent with the volume that Dent usually do in a bear market. So, you know, I don't have any problems with Dent. Let's take a look and see if they still adding holders. Yep, so they're creeping towards the 85. They're creeping towards the 85. I like Dent. I think Dent has a lot of coverage. Let's take a look at the markets. A lot of coverage on a lot of different exchanges, top tier exchanges. And let's just take a look at their social media handle and see what they got going on. So we got Dent handle pulled up. This is their Twitter handle. The newest updates is September 8th. They got the Dent Giga Store packages available. And you can see here they're showing a successful round trip for telco asset handling on DentNet. Buying, selling, and usage tracking is now possible. With DentNet wireless telecommunications will be more transparent, secure, and fraud safe. So let's just
Three
take a look
times
at
100
this real
minutes in the
quick.
Dent app because I love calling. These three packages can be found on-chain. In this UI, we use the subscript indexer to access the data of the chain. As you can see, three packages are here. Two with a balance of 6,000 seconds and one with a balance of 5,804. So let's call someone. We call a bot that will pick up and stop after a few seconds. Let's see what happens. Now, check here and we go to the chain. So let's see when something comes in. Here was an update. So let's check in our Explorer. So we can run this query again to check if there is new data. And here you can see, now it's 5,797. The value changed and we have some seconds less available than before. DentNet tracks the usage and stores it on-chain. So you can see DentNet is ready to track buying, selling, and the usage of telco assets. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned for the next updates.
So there you have it. Whatever type of transaction that
In the
was in
last
regards
video,
to
I
the
showed you
call.
how Dent.
So you can see Dent is still working on their app. They're still doing things and updates to their app, which is good. Right here we have
Managed the purchase of voice.
The affiliate program. So if you have the Dent app downloaded to your phone and you would like to recommend to your friends and family a way of having mobile data while they're across seas or something like that, This is probably for you. It's an affiliate program. You can get rewarded in dent for the um people that you recommend. So that's pretty cool. All right, but we're gonna keep it pushing, and we're gonna go over to our next one, which is Ken. And currently, Ken is sitting at 0.00005 zeros after the decimal 8. Personally, I would like to see this drop down to maybe 503 area before I start to consider adding to my bags. But I'm bullish on Ken. I believe that the moves that they made to decentralize Ken somewhat is I think they just get overshadowed because of the bearish market and really nobody's paying attention. But they do have a lot of market coverage as well. They don't have any coverage on Binance, which is, I think it's a big deal. But if they can get listed on like a Binance or Coinbase, it's not like the exchange listings does anything for the price action, but it can add a lot of liquidity at the right time, you know? So currently, Dent 24-hour volume is at 300,000. That's pretty consistent with Ken has been doing in this bear market. But let's take a look at the Twitter handle and see. I believe they had a Q&A, and it was something that I was listening to with Ted, and he's the guy who's the like CEO over the project right now. So we're gonna get into that. So they do have a Ken bridge for if you still have Ken on the ERC20. If you still have Ken on Ethereum, you can now bridge it over to Solana, or if you still have Ken on Ethereum and Stellar, they have a custom blockchain that you can now bridge to Solana. So that goes to show you that they're not trying to leave nobody hanging. Everything that they stated they're going to do since the team kind of broke up, it has been done. You can see here, fully decentralized. I think Ken has a lot of upside potential. And if you, we're going to go to right now is Ted Livingston handle, because they did a podcast on these guys' podcast right here, Light Speed. And we're going to leave the link to the whole podcast in the description if you want to just take a listen to it. It's pretty, they ask some questions. I mean, I would have asked, some more Ken related. They did ask a lot of Ken questions, but I don't really like, I'm not concerned about, like, so far what he said he was going to do as far as Ken and what, the plans were, he has done. You know what I'm saying? They burn mad Ken. Like, they burn trillions of Ken. So the circulating supply is down. So it makes it scarce. They built an app that you can use. It's really easy. It's called Code. And that's on Android and on the iPhone. So, and not to mention, it's on Solana. Like, you can't beat that. Like, Solana is definitely up and coming. And to be on that chain and to be one of the biggest, um, and to have one of the biggest projects on that chain, that's gonna definitely pay off. So let's just I'm gonna go through this image. I gotta find and I'm just gonna breeze through some of the stuff that I thought was, we're just gonna like kind of break it down a little bit, and I'll give my commentary on some of the stuff that I thought. So here goes Code. And we covered this. You can go to my past videos. If you're new to this channel, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button because we break down micro cap cryptos and it could be beneficial to your portfolio. So definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content with anybody who you know that likes crypto. Here we go. Here's the video. I'm not happening. So yeah, let's just break this down real quick because I thought it was interesting on some of the stuff he said. Like, I'm gonna go over it.
The biggest problem with crypto and the adoption of crypto and payments is not volatility. The biggest problem is answering the question for people, but what can I do with it? It doesn't matter if it's USDC.
So that's his thing right now.
If it's USDC or Bitcoin or KIN or any other cryptocurrency, it's the issue in the entire industry that we need to solve is answering that question, but what can I do with it?
This episode is brought to you by Jito. Jito is the easiest way to start earning MEV rewards on Solana through liquid staking. Get your SOL, stake it with Jito, and get instant access to liquidity through their liquid staking token, Jito SOL. Get started today at jito.network/staking. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Lightspeed. Today, we are joined by Ted Livingston, the CEO of Code. Ted, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, we're pumped to have you. So anybody that doesn't know Code, it is the easiest way to pay anybody anywhere in the world. Usually when we do these interviews, we don't really go into anyone's background. It's like, you know, the classic question, like, how did you get into crypto? It's not all that interesting. But Ted, your background is extremely interesting. So I want to go all the way back to 2009 when you started Kick and go into just that story and also, you know, what you learned from building consumer products.
Yeah, totally. It's been a long journey. So I got really fortunate. I worked at BlackBerry in 2007, 2008, before the iPhone was announced. So I got to see mobile very early. I got to live in a world where me and all my friends who worked at BlackBerry, we all had BlackBerries with full data plans. So we really got to experience the future before everybody else. And sort of coming out of there, I was really excited about mobile. My boss said to me, "Hey, you're good at this. Leave the company and start your own company." And at the time, I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah, maybe I can do that." I was still in college at the time. But I decided to go for it, and I looked around and it's like, hey, what is this BlackBerry thing missing? And I thought like the music experience actually was the worst part of it. You know, great email, great messaging, all these great things, but poor music. So we actually started with music, but then it got into, wait, wouldn't it be awesome if you could send tracks to your friends? And then I was like, wait, but I have friends on iPhone as well. And I want to chat about those tracks. And then we said, wait, we should just take out the music thing and launch a messenger. And so we launched that in October 2010, and it just went viral. Went 0 to 1 million users in 15 days, 1 million to 2 million users in 7 days. It was wild.
That has to be like one of the fastest growing apps ever, probably, right? I mean, 1 million users in a week is insane.
Yeah, it was insane. We were a team of, for the most part.
But we'll get to that. First, I want to maybe go back to the earlier days and fast forward to kind of how Code and KIN came to be. I know, Ted, you guys went through some, iterations. Maybe you started on Ethereum, Stellar, and then finally on Solana. Can you kind of walk us through like what the story there is? Like, how did that all play out for you guys?
Yeah. So I think we were very early in the idea of trying to turn chat into one of these super apps. You know, actually an interesting fact is Kik was the inspiration for WeChat. WeChat was born when they saw Kik go viral, the company Tencent in 2010. But when you look at WeChat, like so many of the things that make it powerful at the end of the interaction are money. You know, I pay a merchant for something or they pay me or whatever it is. And in China, that works because you have one big financial system that, as long as you're in cooperation with the government, you can get full access to. Well, that does not work in the West. Every country is different, country by country. It's highly regulated. So if you want to provide this seamless super app experience, you will never succeed by trying to do it in the traditional system. You need something that does to fintech what chat apps did to SMS, go over the top and make it global. And so I think that's why we were excited for crypto for a very long time, starting with Bitcoin in, I think it was like 2010, 2011 is when we first got interested in Bitcoin, because it felt like this first experience that we could go over the top with. And so as we're thinking about how to build this platform, to answer your question, Mert, like we're like, okay, we're going to need this financial layer. Crypto seemed like the only option, but it also seemed like it could also be a potential business model. You know, we were competing with a bunch of free apps that didn't make money and we're all funded from somewhere else. You know, anything we do and charge for users, our competitors will just copy and make it free. And so the idea of like a mining reward, but for developers, seemed like a pretty interesting idea.
Yeah, and I think you started with kin points, right? Which is kind of like a cryptocurrency, but it wasn't on a blockchain. It was almost like an experiment. Like, can we get a way to have a digital currency that people want to use? They actually want to hold on to and spend, because I feel like that was maybe one of your core theses. Is like, if we just have a currency, no one will care, but you need a reason why people hold it and spend it, right? So you started building like this economy within Kick. What were people using these kin points before you actually launched the kin blockchain?
Totally.
Yeah, so I wanted to pause it right there because, you know, basically the rest of that piece of conversation was him talking about the Kick product that they built, and the functionality of it and things like that and what was Ken used for. I'm gonna fast forward to another piece of the interview that I thought was interesting, and then I'll chime back in a minute.
Could you build a new economy around a new currency inside these big digital apps? But then could you have it be sort of cross app, almost like a euro for a digital world, by putting it on the blockchain?
And then 2017, you launched Kin, right? Okay, which is more like the actual like cryptographic version of Kick points. And you started with Ethereum, but that was like really the only option, right? So then you went into Stellar, forked Stellar, and then how did the whole Solana conversation come to be?
So we are consumer app developers, right? Like we want to build great experiences for users. And so for us, we simply need a technology that will enable us to build those experiences. So to your point, we started on Ethereum because that was the only option at the time, but it was clear, and we put this in the white paper, it was never going to work to scale. You know, just giving our active users 5 Kick points to get started would consume the entire capacity of the entire blockchain for 6 months. And that's still true today. Like that's not going to work. So, you know, there's lots of sort of tribalism in crypto and how dare you leave Ethereum. And it was honestly, it surprised us a little bit because we're like, well, I thought we're here to build great experiences. It's like, no, we're here to tell the story of Ethereum. It's like, but I just want to build a great experience. So that's what did and has always driven us. And so that's where we went to Stellar. Stellar was the least bad option that could get us a little closer to having the technology we needed. You know, now instead of 10 transactions per second, it was 100 or 200. And the cost per transaction was much lower. But still the cost was too high. And so we said, okay, well, what are all the options? It's one of our key values over the years. What are all the options? And we said, well, what if we fork Stellar, but put a new fee model in place? Then we could have the scalability of Stellar, but lower fees, again, getting us closer. But again, still not good enough. And so that's when we first heard about Solana, before even the testnet launched. We're like, this seems like for the first time ever, we will actually have technology that will be able to support mainstream consumer experiences, have the speed, have the cost, have the scalability. And so we actually announced migrating to Solana before any other project in the world, right? Like people are like, oh, Solana, I haven't even heard of that. That's probably the stupidest thing ever. Why would you ever migrate to something nobody's heard of and because the technology is amazing. And like looking back today, our conviction in Solana being the best layer 1 to build on, never mind layer 1, layer 2, the best infrastructure to build on, if we get away from the tribalistic terms for a second, is as strong as ever.
Solutions that crypto enables. What are those? Like, do you have any contrarian thoughts on this as well?
I think probably it's 2 things. So the first is the ability to go global. You know, we can add a feature to code today and roll it out to users across almost the entire world tomorrow. Okay, so we can innovate rapidly. That requires code to be self-custodial. And to make a simple self-custodial experience is extremely difficult and has taken years to build. But we've now crossed that threshold. Anybody can use code to exchange digital paper cash. We have proved that we can make self-custodial simple from a mainstream audience. So now we can roll out new features that can be offered to the entire world at once. So I would say that's the first thing. It's the ability to go global. And then the second thing is it's the ability to have minuscule transaction fees. Like once you get down to these fees that Solana has, you're able to do all sorts of interesting things like subsidize the entire experience for the user, right? In code, at no point do we say, oh, you know, okay, you have to deposit some funds so you can pay your gas, so you can do this. It's like you've already lost the user, like literally game over, you know, go back to the beginning and try again. So we need to be able to get somebody up and running right away. They can receive money right away. They can give money right away. And that's only possible when you have this fee structure that's so low. And I think that's where Solana is at that intersection of it is a blockchain, so it is self-custodial, so you can go global, but the fees are cheap enough so you can make self-custodial actually simple. I think crypto needs, and I'm working on the things that I think crypto needs, and that can be amazingly impactful for crypto. And the thing I'm working on is code. And I think, and it's okay, you know, like when we were working on digital paper cash, we don't need the industry to appreciate us to build a major app. Now it's shifting to a platform for web developers. So now we do need to have web developers to be able to actually give this thing a go. But I think people are just, they look at like code and they look at some other crypto wallet, and somebody who's in crypto goes, well, what's the difference? I'm like, here's the difference. Go try to give $5 to your mom or dad with code and with this other wallet app, and then get them to give $2 back. Then you will see the difference. So I think code is extremely underappreciated today, but you know, I don't say that because we want to be more appreciated. I just think it's underappreciated. So that's the word that came to mind.
All right, so we back, and so that's Ken for you. I just wanted to give you guys some insight on what's going on over there in Ken, and you can see Code is their flagship application that is featuring Ken. Okay, so you know they're like the cash app of crypto. That's exactly how I would put it, because the Code app is very easy to use. The fees are very low to send Ken, but they need to add more. They need to add more features that'll draw people in, you know, especially if they can get some type of staking or a game. If you could put a game in there, something to keep, like, you know, I don't know why these developers are killing themselves trying to come up and make a game, reinvent some of these simple games that's out and put them on your app. It's, to me, that would be the easiest way, but whatever. So we're gonna keep it pushing. We're gonna go to another crypto that I seen had a little Q&A session, and we're gonna check that out. And that's ticker symbol BAX, ticker symbol BAX, and the ticker is bad. The project is bad. BABB is currently 3 zeros after the decimal, just flipped 1369. This is another crypto I'm waiting to crash a little bit more. I like to see it add another zero. I would prefer it down to 4 zeros, 4 or 5, somewhere around that area. I think that's a really good area to sweep up some. But if we don't get there, this is not too bad neither. 0001s, you can get you a nice bag. So let's take a look at their Twitter handle. What kind of volume? The volume sucks. They're only doing about 50K. That's really no volume. You can come in and really manipulate this crypto easy. But I seen something on their handle as well where they did a little Q&A. So we're gonna breeze through their Q&A session, see if we can dig up some information on what's going on. So as you can see here, this was September 14th. AMA. All right, ask me anything. So let's open this one up. I believe they had some technical difficulties at first, but
through this any longer. I understand the audio is very
forward to
UK
the right.
bank account, auto local bank account, and sort code that linked to our market. We do have card.
All right.
Doctor, can you hear me? Anyone else?
Just for some background, it's two guys that are interviewing this guy.
Can you hear me, Rush?
CEO of BAX.
Can you hear me, guys?
And he's going to be sharing.
We can
hear
you.
Can
you hear us?
Yes, we can. I can very well.
Okay.
Sorry, you have to switch off completely the laptop because the issue was in the laptop. Apologies for that.
Okay. Would you like to start over? Because a lot of people weren't able to understand.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll go back to the beginning. We were speaking about the debit cards and the hybrid money accounts that you launched this year. Can you just give us the process on how that was launched, what was involved with that?
Great. So at the beginning, of course, we wanted to launch a debit card that's different to the existing debit card, or let's say in the market, we do have cards for you to spend if you have crypto, of course, but in reality, they are not debit cards. They are just a gateway for you to spend some crypto from the ATM machines or vendors. But the debit card of BABB is a little bit different. It's directly linked to a UK bank account and sort code. And we consider that as, a bank account, right, like any other bank in the UK. And that's the advantage. You may see Visa, Mastercard from someone who, from a different company that can give you that card. But in reality, they're not linked to a UK bank account or to local bank account and sort code. They're linked to a wallet for you to spend. And this is a huge achievement that it's not visible to the end customers in terms of how valuable is the infrastructure behind this. Of course, we successfully launched that in the UK, but our provider promised us in the past that we can issue the card, for the global audiences, but at the end of the day, last minute they said no. Then we of course proactively found another provider called Modular, and Modular Finance is the same company that provides the same service to maybe some of the companies like Revolut. Of course, some of you know Revolut, and with Modular now we are integrating and testing a Euro account as well as GBP for us to provide cards outside UK and hopefully outside Europe. And that's a summary of what for end users. You may not see the difference. You will have a Mastercard here, a Mastercard there, but you don't know the difference in terms of how the flow of the money is set up, and what's the advantage in terms of being of a card that's directly linked to a debit card, to a UK bank account, and not just a wallet.
Yeah, so I just wanted to stop right there and just talk about what he just said. So basically, the debit card that they got coming out for BABB, and we covered that. If you go into one of our BABB old videos, you'll see we covered that aspect. He's saying that it's going to be directly linked to a UK bank account. For some reason, this dynamic is game changing to have an actual bank account linked to the card. So, that's what he's saying in this video right here in this little segment. But I'm gonna try to find something else that I thought was a little bit interesting as well.
In terms of what we are waiting for is our developers to finish the RDF20 token, and we decide we don't want to go and list, and that's ERC20 token. We want to list RDF, but we decide internally that if it's going to take longer than and if this year we may also list ARC20. But what we are waiting for is the completion of Redify, so we can list in as maximum exchanges as possible. And the requirements now is less. The requirement for you to list a token that's compliant is much cheaper than before, and it's possible. And of course, listing BAX in exchanges, it's not just for you guys to make you happy, but it's very important for the BAX tokens to be traded in as maximum exchanges as possible. And don't forget, the BABB app in the future will be monetizing the whole ecosystem based in BAX. We want to charge in BAX. We want to pay gas in BAX. And it's very, very important to push for listing. And believe me, I have emails. I'm exchanging emails with very decent exchanges. One of them is #1 in the US. I don't want to name any, but I'm pushing really very, very hard to get the BAX listed there.
So that's all we got on that. Basically, he was talking about the new token that they're trying to develop. I don't know. He didn't really talk too much about how does it tie into BAX, but for some reason I think it's going to be a fork of what they got now with BAX, and it's going to go into this other phase of BAX. So right now they got ERC20 BAX, and they're trying to do Redify. That's going to be their blockchain, and boom, this is going to be the new code for BAX. So he's saying he's really not in a rush to get on any exchange until that part is ready, so that part can be added to the exchanges that they get on, instead of adding the ERC20 and then having to do an update or maintenance or something like that. So that makes kind of sense, but can they execute all of this? So he has big ambitions, but can they execute? So we'll see. We're gonna keep an eye on that. This is a banger when it gets to running, so it's definitely one to keep on your watch list, right? So let's go back and check out another crypto. And this is an old crypto that we usually talk about on this channel. And that is Electroneum. Now this one, it's so old and it hasn't really lived up to its potential that I'll be hesitant talking about it. But since I'm on the path of cryptos with applications, this is one that has an application too. They already have one built. It's called the Electroneum app. It's available both in Android and for the iPhone. Okay. Right now, this has been just about as low as I've seen it for the year. I don't think I've seen it lower. So this one is currently sitting at, yeah, it's been down to the 2, but it's not so far. So this one is sitting at 0.001868. And oh man, I don't want to say that this is a good price, but being that if you look at how long it stayed in that range of just the 2s for, you see, a nice long amount. So here's back in May 2, April 2, March 2. So even going back to the beginning of January, it's been in a 0.002 range for almost what will be a year once we hit. And, that's just a lot of consistency at this level. So I would say if it does fall, it's not going to stay down long. So if you can get anything underneath this, you're pretty much in good territory, you know? But what is the potential? So let's go check their Twitter handle and see if they got anything going on with their app, or if they're doing any updates, or if they're progressing somewhat like the rest of the apps that we just seen. So you can see here, it's this is June 20th update. We covered that already 21 hours ago. Integrated is one of two ways, brother. It's there. Store chain, the blockchain stores reference. I guess they trying to give education about blockchain. That's not going to help the price, but smart contract impacted 1 trillion IoT loans. Internet of Things. I think we covered this already. So they don't have no new updates. I'm really disappointed in Electronium. They're not really living up to what they usually do for, their holders, which is keep us in the loop. And they just haven't been doing it. Even on their Twitter handle, you know, this is what I guess everybody's waiting for with them EVM. And like the thing is, they making it seem like it's just this big thing. But NFTs, to be honest with you, they've been out for so long now, like they're so behind. So to try to get their holders super excited about being like in last as far as everything, it's not cool, you know? Like this is old, but we happy you coming to your senses. So we give you that, but yeah, so we just gonna move on from Electronium. Not that I'm not gonna keep covering them, but it's just like nothing new, you know? Nothing really new. No new exchanges. I mean, come on. No new website. Like, is they serious with this lady still on here? Like, come on. It's crazy. But they are doing things within the app. They got stuff going on. It's just so slow. It's annoying. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching the video. We're gonna keep you posted. Nothing really going on in the market to be excited about. You know, try to keep whatever you got and hold on to it, because it'll be some better pricing. You're not gonna miss anything. And when you know that it's that time, you're gonna know. So that's what we got for you in this video. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in another.